I believe we're live. Let me do this. Hopefully you can hear me. It is Monday, March the 9th, 2026, 1800 hours on the East Coast of America. The tampering period, the legal tampering period in the NFL has begun, and the Jets have made several splashes to improve their defense, which needed a lot of improvement, if you'll notice. And so here we are live to discuss these things. We will take a look at the roster. We will take a look at any new information that comes in, any new news, and we will review all the news of the day. And there was a lot of it here on a Monday as we get ready for the full free agent frenzy this week. Let me know if you can hear me out there. Phil Adams is here from across the pond. It's a lot later where he is than here in America. Hank G is here. Alan Dodge is here, the New Paltz legend himself. He's part of the inner circle. You could be part of the inner circle by clicking the join button down below, and then you could hang out with Alan Dodge, but instead you don't. You'll rather keep your $2 a month and not hang out with Alan Dodge. What are you, nuts? That's the Dodester over there. Do you understand he's a rugby legend? Well, anyways, he gets exclusive items. He gets exclusive information. He gets the quarterback grading system. He gets it all because he participates and supports this channel, FSPN, in what we do. And we thank people like Alan Dodds very much. Frankie Frenzy. All right, audio-visual 100%. Braden, also a member of the Inner Circle. Longtime member. This man will sit in a kayak somewhere near New Zealand and listen to old Frankie. I never been to no New Zealand. But somehow, Braden gets to sit in a kayak and fish and listen to old Frankie. I mean, what a world we live in. Huh. Never would have thought. When I was a child, we had Etch-a-Sketches, and we thought those are pretty cool. And we had, Tecmo Bowl, and boy, was that fun. And, we didn't have any way to communicate with New Zealand. We didn't even know where New Zealand was. But nonetheless, apparently it's somewhere. And guess who's there? Braden. That's who's there. Sitting in a kayak, fishing, having a great old time on the water, listening to old Frankie. It's a crazy world we live in. Harley's here. He's a member of the Inner Circle. You could hang out with old Harley here. Apparently he likes the wishbone. You never know what Harley's going to say or do. I don't know, you got a wishbone. It could go one way. It could go another way. You never know. See, look, Braden says, this time tomorrow I'll be out in the kayak. So, we're probably going to go live tomorrow again because today has been crazy in terms of these transactions. So who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Now we're finding out, as of 2 minutes ago, the Raiders are signing linebacker Nakobe Dean, per Vayner Sports agent Mike McCartney. So the Raiders have been very, very active in free agency, loading up their team for when they get Fernando Mendoza. And now they're getting Nakobe Dean, very sought-after linebacker. Seems like the Eagles are losing a lot of players. A lot of players. Got to see how the Eagles all shake out after this. A lot of people. And also, from Josina Anderson, Malcolm Kuntz has agreed to a one-year deal to return to the Raiders. I think he's returning there. But anyway, going to the Raiders. So the Raiders continue to load up. Wow. And as we're sitting here 1 minute ago, the Raiders are also signing Packers linebacker Quay Walker. So these teams are using their money. Wow, the Raiders are really going nuts, and they needed to, because They had nobody on the team. So good job by the Raiders and Spy Tech. They're just signing all these people. Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean. Now they got some people. I mean, they traded away Mad Max, so now they got some money, more money. And so now they need players. All right, so they got Nakobe Dean, they got Quay Walker, they got Malcolm Kuntz. Okay, the Kuntzmeister. Okay. So that's a lot of defense in a couple of minutes. Very interesting. All right, so that's breaking news as we come on the air. That's part of the value of being on a live stream. Now, one thing I got to check. I think last time the chat stopped coming in at some point, so I got to check sometimes, but this was the last chat in there. Okay. From Braden with the kayak. But the Raiders making all kind of moves, as you might expect. They have nobody, and they need people. They traded away Mad Max, so now they are trying to make up for it on the roster with all these people that they're signing. They also signed some offensive linemen. They also signed a wide receiver who I think Speedy Naylor from the Vikings. So they're trying to stock the roster just like your New York Jets are trying to do. And boy, did we do good. Boy, did we do good. So as of this morning, first thing this morning, we traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick. And that was a great way to wake up to the day and see that the Jets had retained Minkah Fitzpatrick in a trade from the Miami Dolphinians. And if you remember, we talked about him in some of the live streams. Metatrend's Marcus here. Favorite time of year. Free agent frenzy. But we talked about Minkah Fitzpatrick and we said, well, it would be great to acquire him for low cost, which we did, 7th round pick. But the problem is the contract. And I said, well, it's not really a problem. We'll just extend him for a 3-year contract and that'll lower the cap hit. And that's exactly what happened. So that was beautiful. Leadership, quality. He's still an elite defender. Excellent. Great. Then, as the day went on, we also addressed other things on the defense. We have not addressed anything on the offense. So that's a TBD. But then we acquired Demario Davis, an elite linebacker, even at his elevated age, and former Jet Demario Davis. He's still elite, believe it or not. But then that wasn't enough. We signed Joseph Asai and David Onyemata and Kingsley Enagbare. And these are all great signings in their own way. Probably the best one is Demario Davis. The best acquisitions are Demario Davis and Minkah Fitzpatrick, 1 and 2. Then David Onyemata. So David Onyemata is a big fatty in the middle who's actually really good at stuffing the run, problem we had. And then you have these two guys on the outside, Kingsley Enagbare and Joseph Asai. They're not great. They're okay. But they're much better depth than what we had. And that's the whole point. And that's what I was so upset about last year. We added a bunch of bums last year, if you remember me ranting and raving about it. Now we're adding excellent players sometimes, but also some good players behind them. And that's what you got to do. So all of these maneuvers are very, very smart, whether it was the Tivandre Sweat acquisition or David Onyemata. These are both run stuffers. Now think about how many run stuffers we got. Tivandre Sweat, Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs, David Onyemata are all known as run stuffers, and Demario Davis is an elite run stopper. They don't call him a run stuffer because he's a linebacker, but he's great against the run also. That's a lot of people that are great against the run. And so, and Minkah Fitzpatrick will help you out a bit there too, though he's more of a free safety type. So this is great. You can't look at what the Jets did and think anything other than, wow, great job. They really improved the defense. According to the reporters, we're not done yet either. And so it'd be nice to add a few more pieces, even if they're backup pieces, because the backups are important. Second string is very important in football. But the big question now is what the hell are we doing on offense? Now, some things did happen quarterback wise, not for the Jets as far as we know. Checking again. Dre Green law is getting released. The Titans are signing Cordell Volson. The Titans are another team that's spending gobs of money, and they have to. They have no roster. So what happened with the quarterbacks? So that's what happened with the Jets, and we'll take a look at the roster here in a second. The updated roster. Two bums. No, that not at all. Kevin Callahan's here. I love all the moves. Who else do you think we had next? Well, now the other big things that happened today have to do with quarterbacks, but not the Jets. So if you notice, Malik Willis went over to the Dolphins, and guess what that does? We talked about this on yesterday. That means they're out of the Ty Simpson sweepstakes. They're hitching their wagon to Malik Willis. I think that's a bad move by Willis. Not that he's bad, but they just have so little there. I just don't think they have enough for him to really prove and show what he can do. And I think it's going to be no bueno in Miami, but he could prove us wrong, and we'll see what else they add, around him. But so how that affects us is if we want Ty Simpson in the draft, which is a scenario we were exploring yesterday, we got a much clearer path now. Because the other team that was a threat for that was the Cardinals, and they went and signed Gardner Minshew. And you might say, what does that have to do with anything? Well, Gardner Minshew, the Arizona press is reporting that Minshew is going to be the backup and Brissett is going to be the starter. Now, that's what the Cardinals are going to do, which essentially takes them out of the sweepstakes for Ty Simpson, which means nobody ahead of the Jets from the third pick all the way to where we pick, which is 16th, and going ahead, and we could talk about the second pick also, what all this means for that. But whatever it means, almost certainly we wouldn't take Simpson at 2. But if we wanted to take him at 16, there's now no team that really otherwise would take him. It's hard to imagine. The only one who's a mild threat is Cleveland, and I really don't think they're going to waste another first round pick on a quarterback when they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster already, and they have so many other needs. They need offensive line. They need wide receiver so badly. And they're going to take a Ty Simpson? I don't believe it when I see it. Anything could happen. It's the NFL. You never know. But realistically now, my plan for the quarterback situation, the 2 bums and a baby, now is looking good, because the other thing is, just 1 minute ago, the Giants are re-signing wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins. I don't even know who that is. All right. The other thing is, these veteran quarterbacks, so Tua now is signing with the Falcons, in case you missed that news. He's signing up so now they got the leftorium over there in Atlanta, all the lefty quarterbacks. So he's going there. It's reported that Kyler prefers the Vikings. All right, so let's say that hasn't happened yet, but let's say that happens. Where else are these people who are left going to go? Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Carson Wentz, where else are they going to go? There's only one place to go. The way I see it, that's the Jetsies. So, I don't know, it's pretty weird, but nonetheless, if we do the 2 bums and a baby, the bums don't matter which are the bums. The baby is the key to that whole plan, right? And it seems to me, with everything that's transpired today, the big one being Malik choosing the Dolphins, it seems to me that there really is not a major threat to us getting him at 16 if that's what we want to do. And shoot, we might even, it's risky, but the reporting on the Steelers is the Rodgers is going to come back, or they're just going to go with Mason Rudolph, or then let him battle it out with Will Howard. So if he doesn't come back, would they take Simpson at 21? They got a lot of holes on that roster. Maybe. But if not, we could even wait to get Simpson at 33 if we want to. So, I don't know. This whole thing is shaping up pretty good so far. Not perfect, but man. Swamp Rangers here. It's amazing how the Raiders got almost everyone that the Jets content creator talked about the Jets getting. Um, well, I don't on Swamp Ranger. To be honest with you, I have no idea what the other content creators were talking about. But any team that's really like us, like the Raiders and us and the Titans, we all need a lot of talent. Our rosters are depleted to a certain degree. So we're all going to be going after the same types of guys. It's not that big of a surprise. Another thing is AVT. I have not seen him sign yet. Well, let's not speak too soon. No, I don't see it. So, like, what's going on with AVT? Maybe we're going to make a big push for AVT. The reporting is the Giants are in on him big time, but that hasn't been reported yet, so we don't know what's going on with that. If we don't get him, there's plenty of other starting level guards we can get, so it's not a big problem. But I would love to get him back. JD Surf City. Carr, Gino, and Wentz is what remains. Yeah, technically Kyler as well, but people are saying he wants to go to Minnesota. Mariota, if you didn't see it, Mariota chose to go back to Washington, which is a little strange, but maybe the Jets just weren't offering him a deal, so he just said, all right, I'll take a decent backup deal. I like it here, etc. Braden, who most likely trades up 16 to take Ty? I don't think anybody's going to want Ty. Who's going to want him? I mean, I don't see it. I'm sure that there are teams in the second round that would take a flyer to put him on the bench, but in the first round, if it seems to me if the Jets really want him, and this is my working theory, who knows if I'm right, but then we have a clear path to him with our bonus pick. Bradigan's a member of the Inner Circle. You could hang out with Bradigan. Who's better than Chris Bradigan, really? He says, good start to free agency, if you ask me. Yeah. Too many alarms. All right. Bradigan, you got to take care of yourself, buddy. Yeah, stay strong, bud. Hi, Karate's here. He says, good evening to FSPN. Good day to be a Jet fan. Yeah, we picked up some talent and improved the defense quite a bit, I would say, especially in stopping the run, which is important. So the Broncos re-signed Singleton, but they released Dre Greenlaw. I don't think we have any interest in Dre Greenlaw. So the interesting things now are really the quarterback position, which I have a theory for, but it's just a theory. I don't know. People like Connor Hughes keeps repeating Gino and Carson Wentz to the Jets, both of them. And it makes some sense. And like I said, that would be the two bums. If we get those guys and we get them cheap, like they could be, the combined price for those guys could be $5 million for the two of them. That's a hell of a cheap room to get some veteran quarterbacks who can at least help you install your offense and get it on the tracks. Then you go for Simpson at 16. Two bums and a baby. The theory's still in play. Rams. Now, the problem with the Rams is they're all in on this year. So are they going to really forfeit their first round pick from this year? The only one they have, they traded their other one. So now they're sitting there at 13. They're going to really pick a backup? And the reporting is they really love Jimmy Garoppolo to be the backup, which he already was last year. And plus, the only chance Garoppolo had to make a move was to go to the Cardinals, according to the reporting. But they chose to sign Gardner Minshew. So now it's Brissett and Minshew in Arizona. Jimmy G will probably re-sign back to the Rams. And then the Rams will use this pick to get an elite player that they need for their Super Bowl run. They're going all in this year on the Super Bowl. With Stafford, this is probably Stafford's last year. So they're making all sorts of trades and such to bulk up their defensive backfield and this and that. So whatever their greatest need is, why wouldn't they just address that at 13 and get an elite player rather than a backup? Because don't forget, anybody that becomes available, one of the advantages they have, anybody that becomes available, like say Baker Mayfield next year, Baker Mayfield, if he doesn't sign a contract extension, is going to be a free agent. You might say, well, the Jets should sign him. Yeah, but let's say Baker Mayfield's a free agent, Stafford retires. Does he want to go to McVay or Frank Reich? He's going to want to go to McVay, of course. And any quarterback pretty much is going to want to go with Sean McVay. And Puka Nacua and everything they got going on in L.A. So they could very easily solve their quarterback problems as opposed to us, where it's a big problem all the time. So, I mean, they could. I guess it's a mild threat. I would put them on the same level as Cleveland, where they could do it, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Then again, teams often do things that don't make sense to me. But it doesn't make sense to me. Let's get a backup and stash him here. They could just get the best free agent available in any offseason. And even if they have to go get a rookie, in the draft, let's say it's the 5th best rookie or something. Well, now again, you're with McVay, and McVay will make it work for you. That's sort of the one of the advantages of having these offensive geniuses, right? So they could. I would put them on the same level as Cleveland, where it could happen. But Kenny Pickett is on the move again. Sources, according to Jordan Schultz, Kenny Pickett is signing with the Panthers for 1 year, up to $7.5 million. So Kenny Two Gloves going to the Panthers. And that means probably Andy Dalton's probably getting cut. So there's another quarterback on the market that you could get as a backup. Going to come cheap. So now some sort of like the backup market is even moving now. Pickett, Mariota, Minshew, these guys are finding their homes. These are the perennial backups. They're always available every year to be your backup. It's like that commercial, Teddy Bridgewater, backup listener. There's always backups available. Wow. Breaking news as of 11 seconds ago. Adam Schefter, go. Seahawks are bringing back wide receiver Rashid Shaheed on a 3-year, $51 million deal. That includes $34.7 million guaranteed per Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey of Rosenhaus Sports. So that's interesting. Rashid Shaheed stays in Seattle. He won't be sleepless in Seattle with that kind of a contract because he's coming back for a lot of money. So good for Rashid Shaheed. A lot of other teams, such as the Raiders, were looking at him. I noticed Romeo Doubs hasn't moved anywhere. So that's interesting. Romy the homie's still out there. Our 2 quarterbacks that are rumored to be our number 1 and 2 target are still out there, and AVT's still out there. If we landed all those people, wow. Yeah. Yeah, so Sam Darnold gets one of his targets back. So, in fact, it just looks like there's more quarterbacks available than seats available, which is really interesting. Kevin the Jet fans, 2 bums and a baby. Now, that's funny. That's what I think, Kevin. Some of these people, they don't even laugh. You know what I mean? I thought it was funny. We could make a movie out of it. Geno and Howell. I'd like Howell, but they're saying the reporting is it's Geno and Carson Wentz, and the reason it's Carson Wentz is because of the connection to Reich. So I don't mind Carson Wentz as a QB2 either, as sort of like a Reich translator, right? You have that guy who has the familiarity and all of that to translate to the baby, mostly. You're not going to really need to translate to Geno, probably. So I don't actually mind Carson Wentz as a backup in that scenario, in that important, role where we're trying to install the Reich Offense, the Third Reich. You really shouldn't say that. That's Nazis, so that's not good. But we need a good nickname for that. But anyway, so that's what they're saying. I like how I would like the Jets to trade for Will Levis. So something else that happened today, Mitchell Trubisky, one of the higher end backups, went to Tennessee to back up Cam Ward and be with Brian Daboll. And so what do they need Will Levis for? Maybe a little 6th-round pick. We could get ourselves a Will Levis. Now that would be an interesting QB2 because then you would basically go one bum and two babies. But the Will Levis baby would, he's got a little experience, so he's not as young a baby. And he actually has some potential, and maybe you hit with him, and maybe you don't, but at least that gives you a shot, So that would be interesting. I don't know what the Titans are going to do with Will Levis if you're signing Mitchell Trubisky to be your quarterback too. You might as well flip him for draft capital and build up your roster elsewhere, right? And we like to do business with Tennessee. We've done a couple of trades with them already, so maybe another one in the cards for Mr. Will Levis. It's also weird. I was thinking about Aaron Rodgers, and it's weird that he hasn't said what he's doing yet. Because if he wasn't coming back, you would think he would need to tell the Steelers that, right? Because one thing that could be the situation is he told them that he's coming back. This is what Caboli's been kind of telling us. But maybe he just doesn't want to sign yet because this allows them to not carry his salary on their books for a while. And maybe they were like, yeah, let us clean up the books a little bit. And then we'll bring you onto the roster and bring the salary onto onto our books. That could be going on. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. I can't tell. If you guys are cracking up, I have no idea. You should put some cracking up emojis in the chat so I know that you're laughing. What about that? I can't see you laughing in your own kayaks out there. A certain Mr. J. Fields. Yeah, I was thinking about if we made a trade with someone, he could be a throw-in if we paid down his salary. So that's also possible. Or we could just keep him as QB3 or QB, no. I mean, it's probably we can get him we could trade him in a trade, or we probably just release him. I don't like the idea of releasing him though. You get nothing for it. So does he really have no value at all? I find that hard to believe. The Cardinals are re-signing defensive lineman L.J. Collier. That's totally minor. Nobody knows who that is. Cardinal fans are probably like, who's that? Pickett. All right, so no news yet. But yeah, Justin Fields, I'm holding out hope that we could just use him as a throw-in, a sweetener, something to get a trade done. Like maybe the Titans want him in that deal, just as a QB3, just in case. Who knows? Inactive. Never know. One bum, one boy, and one baby. Yeah, we might have to change the movie. Been some Steelers talk about Badgett trade. Well, I haven't seen it from the Steelers side. I think the agent for Badgett, was trying to drum something up. But again, the Bears they think they're in a win now territory. So if he's the primary backup, again, it's the same situation with all these people like McKee and all these other Mac Jones. If these teams are really going for the Super Bowl, and the Bears think they are, whether they are or not, it's another story, but they think they are, why would they want to trade their backup? The backup quarterback is very important in the modern day NFL. This is not the old days where if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. The old Parcells saying that's not accurate these days. If you're going for the Super Bowl, you better have two quarterbacks who can play. They're playing more games these days, and they're playing them close together, and guys are out all the time for concussions and this and that. So you got to have a good backup. So if they like him, the Bears, why are they going to trade him? Steelers, and the Steelers, from what I have heard, is that the Steelers like Mason Rudolph and Will Howard enough to go with that and maybe a rookie if they can't get Rodgers. Yeah, so then there's more there. So Travis Etienne is leaving the Jaguars, and they're saying he's been a teammate to Trevor Lawrence ever since college. Yeah, they've been together a long time, and now he's leaving. See you later. Smell you later. Uh, yeah, see, this is better. Yeah, that's much better, Bradigan. Sometimes you got to think about the host. The host has to get some reaction out of the chat. Otherwise, I feel like a doofus. Right? What's the salary threshold for the bum? Well, these bums are going to come cheap because for example, if it's Geno Smith, he's already getting paid by the Raiders, so he's not going to cost us much. And Carson Wentz is really a bum, so he's going to cost 2, 3, 4 million at most. And those guys can get incentives, if they want. So it's very, very small for those. Oh yeah, and they signed Case Keenum. But Case Keenum, who's really the backup there? Case Keenum's like 39 years old. Isn't he really QB3? I would think. I did see that. I was like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, but it doesn't really make sense for us because remember, we want the bums. Remember, we're not looking for some guy who, like, that option was Malik Willis, that option was Derek Carr, and apparently the Jets are not going down that route. We're not looking for guys who can do anything really except be a veteran at a low cost who can install an offense. That's the whole theory. And we're really positioning to get, in my theory, I don't know if this is true, but it's a theory, we're really positioning ourselves to get Simpson. And then when Simpson's ready, we pull a Jackson Dart / Tyler Shuck from last year. You put them in, and hopefully they show you, yep, they're the franchise guy. You got him. And then we'll really be cooking with the gas because then we'll have our quarterback. We'll have all these improvements we made on the roster now this year through these free agents and then the draft. And then we head into next year with $150 million in cap space, a franchise quarterback in place, and 3 first-round picks and our second-round pick. So 4 premium picks and $150 million when $91 million in dead cap rolls the fuck off. And then we could do whatever the fuck we want. we can pay for anyone at any time. Whoever we could play in the top of the market next year for sure. And if the quarterback plays good this year, the young quarterback, and if we win enough games, if we win 7, 8 games, we look like we're on pace to be good. There's going to be no opposition to coming here. We'll have the young quarterback. We'll have, the coaching will look good by extension because we're winning more games, and everything will be lovey-dovey. I mean, think about it. This plan is a great plan if it works. Now, any plan can blow up in your face. The young fella you get could stink it up. Hey. But what we're hoping for is the Tyler Shuck, Jackson Dart script. We want to do exactly what those teams did last year. And the bums are just placeholders. So we're not looking for some diamond in the rough. I think Will Levis is the exception there because he has so much obvious talent. And maybe you get 2 bites at an apple there. Maybe, the bum number one stinks it up. Okay, after 3 games, you put in Levis and see how he does. That's bite at the apple number one. And if he does bad, then by game 10, you put in the rookie. But otherwise, we're not really looking for someone we got to really, really squint our eyes and say, this guy could really be it. Like Will Levis, the talent is just obvious. It's just a matter of harnessing it and seeing what he could do when he gets some time to throw and has some weapons. And maybe he can't do it. And then you go to the rookie. No problem. The Cowboys traded with the Packers to acquire Rashawn Gary, so that's kind of interesting. Cowboys try to fix their defense over there with Quinnen and crew. Rich Cimini reporting Kenny Pickett to the Panthers as QB2 makes all Andy Dalton expendable, as I said before. There's the obvious connection with Frank Reich. I wouldn't put him high on the Jets' list of QB options, but he's on there as a fallback. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these guys. What are all these guys going to do? What is Kirk Cousins going to do? Retire? Wait for an injury? It's crazy. I'm ready for the Jets QB room to be bum. Well, that's not very optimistic, Doge. Send Fields to a California team for their nutritionist at this point. Well, I like to try to get some value back. Do you think Carr's looking at how we're building our team? He might think we look pretty good soon. Yeah, but the problem is there doesn't seem to be any interest on the Jets side. There doesn't seem to be any interest on anybody's side for Cousins or Carr, which is weird. I can't explain that. I mean, what do you want him to do? Come to us and beg? I mean, the only one that could be the case is maybe Cousins, because Cousins hasn't been technically released yet. Although some of these other guys, they haven't been technically released yet either. You can announce the signing, but it also looks like the reporting by Rosenblatt and others is correct. That there doesn't seem to be any interest on the Jets side for either one of those guys. And we didn't have any interest in Willis either, I guess. And he quickly signed with Miami, so. And then Mariota signed to be the backup in Washington. So again, my top four are not looking so hot, but then again, my top four was based on logic. And so, I can't speak to it. I don't know why the Jets don't have interest in those people. But then again, that's where the two bums and a baby theory comes in. Maybe they just are so high on Simpson and Aller that they're like, look, all we need are caretakers here. We're going to go after it in the draft where we feel super comfortable with Simpson or Aller. Now Aller probably doesn't play into it because it really doesn't look like anybody else could take Simpson before us, but maybe that's the play. They're like, we don't need to give $35 million to Carr. We don't need to give $20 million to Cousins because we could just get two bums for $5 million combined. Let them be the caretakers until the baby's ready, and maybe that's the plan. And they think, well, with an improved defense, which so far we've done a good job improving the personnel on defense by a lot, and that'll continue. There's that side of it, and then the quarterback then would just need to do enough to keep it moving, kind of like Tyler Shuck and Jackson Dart. Shuck and Dart didn't exactly light the world on fire, but they did enough where the teams were like, oh, all right, this guy's got it. Okay, we got to get some more stuff around him, but once we do, ooh, look out. That's how they're feeling right now, and that's what we need. So. That's kind of the beauty of it. And that could explain why, because I couldn't understand why there's no interest, at least from the Jets side, for Carr or Cousins or Willis or Mariota, my top four. Didn't seem the Jets were interested at all, and maybe this is why. It's sort of like a theory with an explanation of what's really going on with the Jets. And things are pretty quiet right now. Some players that I'm very interested to see what happens is AVT, He has not signed yet that we know of. Romeo Dobbs, Romy the homie. Now, Romy the homie, maybe he wants to go down with Malik Willis now in Miami. That would be a nice 1-2 punch with Jalen Waddle. Maybe that's the plan there. And then the quarterbacks. But Rosenblatt and some of the other people are saying we're not even done yet. I forget which tweet it was, but basically Rosenblatt was saying they did all these things, this, and they're not done. So that means he has information about it. John Franklin Myers went down to Robert Saleh, as we all predicted. Yeah, so Rosenblatt 3 hours ago had this tweet where he listed the new depth chart, seeing as how we have all these new players. And then he wrote, not done adding to the defense. So that means he knows something. He's not just saying that. Because in theory, we could be done, and just say, all right, we got enough time, we'll get the rest in the draft. But he's saying we're not even done adding to the defense. We could use another safety. We could use some depth at cornerback. We could use another defensive tackle. So that's where we are. As of 4 seconds ago, per Mike Garafolo, the Arizona Cardinals have agreed to terms with veteran guard Isaac Seumalo. Sources tell me in Rap Sheet, the former Steelers lineman gets $31 million over 3 years in a deal done by his agents. All right, so $10 million a year for Seumalo. He's older. Again, a lot of these guards are coming in like 10, 13, 14. What is AVT worth when Isaac Seumalo is worth a little over 10? Some of these guys are coming in 15, and you say, well, AVT's better than that guy. Yeah, but AVT has injury concerns, so how do you price that in? Seems to me 12, 13 should get it done with him, a 2-year, 3-year deal. And I'd pay that. Maybe that's what's going on. Connor Hughes was making it seem like AVT to the Giants was a done deal, but at least not so far. So I'm very, very interested in that. As of 19 seconds ago, Ian Rappaport, the Arizona Cardinals are signing Lions free agent defensive tackle Loy Lopez to a 2-year, $11.5 million deal with 7 guaranteed. Deal done by Clutch Sports. So Roy Lopez heads to the desert. That's another thing that's interesting about today. We didn't sign any ex-Lions yet. I don't know what it is with Aaron Glenn, but he doesn't sign any ex-Lions. Now, he did sign some of his ex-players from the Saints, but I don't know what it is. But these last 2 years, we haven't signed anybody from the damn Lions, except for Reynolds. Kind of strange. There's a couple of guys that could be interesting for the Jets as depth pieces. One is Ife Melifonwu. That's a guy who was on the Lions with Glenn, but also the Dolphins with our 2 defensive back coaches, Slowick and Duker. But he's a backup. The other one is Azariah Thomas's brother, Wanye. So these are 2 brothers. One's named Azariah. The other one's named Wanye. Their parents like this yay thing at the end. But anyway, they're brothers, and the brother, Wanye, is a safety, and he got released by the Cowboys. So he would be a backup type. He's not a starting safety, but might be a good signing, backup special teamer type. Get the Yay brothers. Why not? All right, everybody's reporting the Cardinals signings. We got more signings. Man, a lot of comments. So will Carr still unretire and go? No. He's not going to. No, the Saints don't want him. Why are the Saints have their quarterback? He's only wants to retire to not play for them. He doesn't want to come back and go to the Saints and sit on the bench. They have Tyler Shuck. They have their quarterback. Carr's going to stay retired, I guess. I mean, he could try to force the issue, but it's really simple. All we'd have to do is get permission to talk to him, iron out a contract with him once we had permission to talk to him officially. And once he's okay with the contract, then we would make a trade with the Saints, and the Saints would have to take a 6th or 5th round pick or something like that, because it's either that or Carr stays retired and they get nothing. So it's really simple, and that's why I kept saying I don't understand this when we weren't getting the news that we had requested permission to talk to him. So I don't know. I guess he's just going to remain a podcaster. I'm not convinced we're going after Simpson. Well, that's because you probably didn't scout Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier stinks. If you think Garrett Nussmeier is anything close to Ty Simpson as a prospect, you've lost your mind, RC. So, my opinion is very high on Simpson and Aller and Cole Payton and, of course, Mendoza. Everyone else is a bum as far as I'm concerned. When I say bum, I mean Nussmeier and Beck and Klubnik and anybody else. It's basically a backup, a career backup. They're not what you want to go after, in my opinion. Yeah, well, that's the problem is if you sit around waiting, you may not get your guy. So that's where the 16th pick comes in. You can clearly get your guy. It's a bonus pick anyway. We get Reese at 2 or maybe even Taters. But whatever, you get a premium guy at 2, and then you have a bonus pick at 16. You might as well just not fuck around and get your guy and then move on. You play games. If you fuck around, you just might find out. See, playing games like this, Braden, where you try to trade back and do this and do that, and you lose your guy. Well, now where are you? The whole plan, in my theory anyway, it's just a theory, maybe I'm wrong, but based on my scouting and other cross-checkers that I know and trust, it seems to me that it's likely that the Jets have a very high grade on Simpson, just like they have a very high grade on Mendoza. I'm almost 100% sure of that. And I think they also have a very similar high grade on Aller and maybe a little bit lower for Cole Payton. And so the whole theory is based on that. Like they are approaching this, like it seems to me, and we'll see what happens. I could be wrong, but this is the theory, that it seems to me the whole thing is based around getting Simpson or Aller in that order and use the 16th pick. Don't fuck around. Yeah, you'd rather get him at 33, but why would you fuck around? When you fuck around, you find out. That's called FAFO. You don't want to do that. You don't want to find out. So don't fuck around. No around fucking. So just get your guy. I think they have a very high grade on him. Could be wrong. It's based on my own scouting plus my cross checkers. I think the Jets are going to have similar grades to me. And the reason that it's a high grade is I think they got the medicals back and that they're very comfortable with the medicals, meaning he does not going to have any long-term issues. And that explains the dip in production. If he never had the dip in production after the Oklahoma game and start looking like shit, he would be a top 5 pick for sure. We'd have to take him with the 2nd pick. But he did do that, and so that's what's throwing his evaluation off in the general milieu, for all the people out there. That's what's throwing it off, because it's a very uneven evaluation, because it's a tale of 2 halves of a season, and it's only 1 season. But I'm thinking that they're just basing their evaluation on the first half of the season when he was a Heisman candidate, and it's because of the medicals that they got back and what they heard from Alabama and everything else. So that's what I think. It's the only way to make sense of this whole thing. Really, I think, unless there's a different kind of theory. Oh, wow. Adam Schefter, as of 4 minutes ago, former Eagles safety Reed Blankenship is signing with the Houston Texans. So the Eagles are bleeding players. Wow. 3-year, $24 million deal. So the Texans get more defensive help. Holy smokes. How could they need more defense? That's going to be a scary thing. So, but a lot of players leaving the Eagles. They lost Jalen Phillips. They lost, now they lost Blankenship. I think they lost a few. They lost N'Kobe Dean. Man, that's a lot of players they're losing. Yeah, this is an interesting tweet by Greg Bedard 3 minutes ago. The guard market, which is where we're talking about AVT, should sort itself out now with Edwards and Seumalo off the board. So this is a guy who's in the know. He knows what he's talking about. And so maybe that's what AVT was waiting for, and so maybe we'll get some news one way or the other. We might lose him. We might keep him. We don't know. It's looking like we're going to lose him, unfortunately. But we'll have to see. So the Eagles are getting picked apart here. Hope Howie has a good draft. Keep it simple. Yeah, who are you listening to, RC? See, the problem with most people is they don't have a system for evaluating quarterbacks. So they don't know what they're talking about. Boss girl, Jefe muchacha. A little late. Glad I caught you. Well, good for you to catch it. Green Bean's here. Look at this man. The great Green Bean, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see Green Bean. Two bums and a baby. I think it could be a movie. Yeah, there was a movie, right? What was it called? Wasn't there a movie like that? And I put my stupid thumbnail as a creative thumbnail. And then nobody watched the video, so I changed it to the actual players. JD says, I think Tua was officially released. I don't think Cousins and Kylie were officially released. No, none of these people are officially released yet. As far as I know, the teams announced that they were released, and you can announce that you've agreed to terms with another team, but you can't actually sign it till Wednesday, I think. So all these people are being released. But what has happened is the team announced that they're releasing them, and they're letting them, agree to terms with other people. But I don't think it becomes official till Wednesday. Yeah, Tennessee and Vegas, and this is what happens these days when you don't have a roster. And plus, some of these teams have to get up to the minimum. Don't forget that either. There's a minimum you have to spend in the NFL, which is good. And some of these teams are in danger of not hitting the minimum, so they got to spend. So, Phil, you should get over that. You got to get over it, Phil. Jeez. I know what Phil's talking about. Dodes, Brian Costello was saying ABT wants a fresh start somewhere else. He might. I didn't see Costello say that. But he might. I mean, he's a California kid. Breaking. Yeah. Old Coach Rutenberg. The Browns are signing former Jets All-Pro linebacker Quincy Williams to a 2-year deal worth up to $17 million per sources. A massive pickup. I wouldn't call it a massive pickup. So the Browns, basically all the coaches, they just go get their guys. It's really strange. So Coach Rutenberg is the new defensive coordinator for the Browns. He used to be our linebacker coach, so he goes and gets Quincy. So good for Quincy. Quincy only gets 88.5. So not exactly a huge deal. But good for Quincy. Land somewhere. You knew he would. Good dude. Gets to be with Rutenberg. That's nice. Nice, nice. See if there's anything else breaking. No, that's it. Quincy, see you later. But we already knew you'd be leaving. Goodbye, Quincy. It was nice knowing you. Thank you for your service. It'll go into our comp pick formula. Uh, Gabriel Garnica. I prefer Simpson, but Al are giving me Josh Allen vibes. Well, everybody says that because that's what the media says, but you got to be careful not to do a complexion projection. He's a tall white guy with a big arm, so he's Josh Allen. So the thing that separates Josh Allen is his running. So if you take the running out of it, then he's not Josh Allen. and and Aller can't run like Josh Allen can run. He's a big dude and powerful, but he's not fast like Josh Allen. So he's a big, tall, white dude who has a big arm. That's true. So that's why everybody says he's just like Josh Allen. Three men and a. It was three men and a baby. Oh, so we got all right. Three men and a baby. We're gonna have two bums and a baby. It works. A one Jets Drive production. The Eagles would probably just take more. Yeah, but the question is, do these Georgia players, are they as good as the old Georgia players? And some of them might be taken by other teams, you might think. As of 2 minutes ago, according to Jordan Schultz, source says the Cardinals are signing former 49ers wide receiver Kendrick Bourne on a deal, a 2-year deal worth up to $12 million. So Kendrick Bourne, speedy wide receiver, goes to the Cardinals. They now have a third wide receiver there for their quarterback combo of Brissett and Minshew. Interesting. See, now probably the Cardinals did an evaluation. Left tackle Jeremy Fowler reporting as of 58 seconds ago. Left tackle Braxton Jones back to the Bears on a 1-year deal worth up to $10 million. Chicago has its starting option at left tackle. Where did he go? Was he on he was on their team, wasn't he? He's just re-signing? Yeah, re-signing, yeah. All right, so the Bears add Braxton Jones, who they had. So there's that. Well, you know what? Since Rutenberg since Rutenberg is the DC of the Browns, it'll be very easy for us to figure out how to beat them. They're just gonna rush 4, never blitz, and run cover 3. Just throw it to the honey hole every time. Easy peasy. Easy money. Karate says, yep. 3 men and a baby. Yeah, but our movie, I mean, look, somebody's going to have to make a movie out of the Jets at some point. And it all started with 2 bums and a baby. Yeah, so it was pretty easy to predict where Quincy was going to go. It was either going to be Cleveland, Atlanta, or Tennessee. I don't know. Coaches like to bring in the guys they know, and guys they know like to be with the coaches they like. As of 2 seconds ago, Jeremy Fowler is announcing that the Titans and center Austin Schlottman, whoever that is, have agreed to a 2-year, $9 million max deal with $3.5 million guaranteed. So they get Austin Schlottman. Not sure who that is. Man, but it's weird that we haven't heard about anything vis-a-vis the Jets and quarterbacks here. Other than Connor Hughes just restating his old reporting about Geno and Carson Wentz. So now Elton Jenkins got released from the Packers. That could be a guard that we sign if we can't get AVT. But I kind of still want AVT. He's the most talented out of all these fuckers. So we'll have to see. Cooper DeJean is saying he's going to miss his brother. The exciting whites, as they call them. Yeah, so that's it as far as the new breaking news. Check on these comments. Richard Todd. Yeah, that's what we said the other day, Gabriel. It's like, look, we haven't had that vintage here since 1969. And wouldn't it be funny if it was another Alabama quarterback to lead us to the promised land? The optimistic case, if it could work, it's just so beautiful, man. Like, imagine going into the 2027 offseason. Let's say we won. Let's dream big. Can we dream big? Let's say we got 9 wins. Can you believe it? 9 wins. Holy smokes. And we just missed the playoffs, or we just made it, God forbid. All right. And we have our franchise quarterback in place. Simpson went in there in game 8 of the season, and he showed he's got it. He's got it like nobody can believe it. And then the offseason comes, and we realize $91 million is rolling right the fuck off our books because it's dead cap, and goodbye to that shit. $91 million. So we'll have, how much are we going to have to spend? 150? We're going to have so much to spend, it'll make your head spin. And then, on top of that, you realize, holy shit, they have 3 first-round picks as well. And they don't need a quarterback? What? Excuse me? We could get people. You wouldn't believe these people that we can get. We could get Jeremiah Smith, the best wide receiver in the whole damn country. We could get Dylan Stewart, probably the best edge in the country. We could get Leonard Moore, probably the best cornerback in the country. We could get David Stone. We could get O.J. Frederick. We could get Amari Washington out of Oregon. A dancing bear if ever I did see one. There's just so much we could do. And so many people we could get. And what kind of a team would we have if we could do all that? Dare to dream with me. It's a dream worth dreaming, if you really think about it. The 2 bums are Woody and Chris Johnson. Dodes, your creativity is lacking. Listen, you need to go back to the New Paltz days, smoke a big doobie, and get a little more creative. This Woody and Christopher stuff, that's not flying. Let's rethink the whole concept. This isn't working. Dre Wireless. He is, but he's Mr. Glass. I don't know who you're talking about. The Jets' lack offensive signings is offensive. Yeah, Well, the thing is, oh, and maybe we should go to the roster at some point. But the thing is that the defense needed way more help. And the offense, yeah, we need a quarterback. Okay. But as I've been outlining, there's a bunch available that don't have a home right now. A whole bunch. So there's that. And we need another wide receiver and we need a guard. There's plenty of guards on the market. We'll get one of them. I want AVT, but if we don't get him, it's no big deal. And that's all we really, and then we just need like some backups. And I mean, we don't need that much. On defense, we needed all these fuckers. All these fuckers we got, we need all of them. We needed Demario Davis to come back and basically be the new CJ Mosley or be the old Demario Davis, if you think about it. You know, we needed Minka Fitzpatrick to have somebody with a fucking half a brain back in the defensive backfield. You know? I mean, geez. And all these people we got, there's one consistent quality. If you notice, they all have big motors. They're all going to keep fighting until the end. You love to see it, including big fuckers like Sweat and Onyemata. They're going to run your goddamn face off. May not be, Quinn and Williams or anything, but they're talented enough, and they're not going to quit until the whistle blows, till the echo of the whistle, as they say. All of them. And so we're obviously trying to get dudes who are like that so that we can stop the fucking run. If you stop the run, you earn the right to rush the passer. Stop the run, get him in 3rd and 15, bring in the NASCAR package, put him on his face, end of story, let's go. Right? Right. We'll show the roster here in a second in case you guys don't know who we have and how it looks right now, because it's changing. But I think obviously we had to get that straightened out first. Now, what's going on with these offensive pieces? I don't know. But it's possible we strike out with wide receiver, for example, or we sign fucking Tutu Atwell or some shit. Well, all right, then, there's plenty of wide receivers in the draft. Did you know, for example, that Trey Lance's brother is in this draft as a wide receiver, 6'3", fast as hell? Dude out of North Dakota State that you could probably get in the 5th round. Trey Lance's brother, he's in there. As an example, there's so many of them. People are, that might be a story in other years. This year, nobody even knows he's there. It's like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, we'll get to the roster here. Let me just go through these chats. Jamie is another bum in Woody's ear. You mean Jaime? Yeah. Jaime, and don't forget Ira. There's also a guy named Ira. I was going to do a video about this. There's a guy named Ira something. Forget his last name. He's not an employee of the Jets, but he's like counsel to the Johnson Company, their hedge fund. And he advises Woody and Christopher on the Jets. It's a problem, actually. But hopefully Jaime's staying over on the fucking business side. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Some people think this could happen, Gabriel. Simpson hits and Mendoza turns out to be another okay but not great quarterback. Could be. I mean, there are questions about Mendoza. I do think he'll be good, though. But the questions are really about what he was asked to run at Indiana, which was very simple and easy, relatively. And though he played very well in that system, don't get me wrong, but there are questions as to the complexity of the system he was running. I'll just say that. James Thompson, who's the QB? We don't know James Thompson. Chris Bradigan, Leonard Moore, Notre Dame. Yeah. And Notre Dame, by the way, has a cupcake schedule this year. They're certainly going to be probably top 3 ranked team unless something weird happens. And Leonard Moore. So we could get Leonard Moore. What if he turns out to be, the next big thing? We could get him. We got 3 picks. Tres en round número 1. I mean, I don't think people understand how awesome it would be to get the goddamn franchise guy this year. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. Did we have? No, I'm keeping track of it, Thompson. I'm looking at it right here. If it breaks, I'll tell you. It hasn't broken. There's nothing. I mean, everything breaks on X these days, right? For example, the Vikings have re-signed Bo Richter and Xavier Scott, whoever they are. The team announced they're so insignificant the insiders didn't even break. The team had to put it out, and everybody's like, "Who are these people?" So no, and any quarterback news is going to be big news, obviously. Quarterbacks run this world, my friends. Official: the Denver Broncos have re-signed tight end Adam Troutman. Does that excite you? Does that get your dick up? I don't think so. Gabriel tie a winning ribbon around this old losing franchise. Yeah. Tie a yellow ribbon round an old oak tree. I remember that one. Why I remember it, I don't know. Tie a yellow. That was back when like songs were singable, you know? These days you got a bunch of crap out there. Amy. Jersey for Hawks. Hawks for Jersey. Yeah, all right. So, looks like the news is kind of stopping for a moment. So, let's take a look at the roster and where it stands. Hopefully, this will work. Oh, yeah. So, here's our roster. We got on the offense, I'm calling it the Stanford Smarty Pantses under Frank Reich. I was going to call it the Third Reich, but that's associated with the Nazis, and that's, you don't want to do that. That's offensive, Frankie. Stop it. But we'll call it the Stanford Smarty Pantses. And right now you can see here on the offense that where it's yellow, that's where we need a starter. So on the offense, we currently need 3 starters because I thought that and this is left wide receiver, your X. Garrett Wilson's going to be your Z, and that's going to be phenomenal for him, by the way. And then you have your slot receiver or your flanker over here. And I thought this was going to be John Mechie, but we did not offer him an RFA contract, and so he's currently a free agent. And then, of course, the quarterback, as we all know. But otherwise, this is the personnel. Now, we need some improvement in some of the backups and stuff, but as you can see, this is pretty good. If we get we're going to get a starting guard. We're going to get probably the 2 bums to be the quarterback for now, and then probably, at least according to my theory, draft one. And then Cook will be gone, Fields will be gone, Zappe will probably be on the practice squad, whatever. But a pretty good offensive line here. At least 2 good receivers. We'll get a third one. It might be great. Maybe it's taters. It might be okay. Maybe we get Jeremy Bernard or, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we get Romy the homie. But the important thing is the Dukes of Hazzard defense, as you can see here. Now, these red ones or purple ones, those are all the new players, and we added a bunch today. And that has made our defense so much better because it knocked people like Braden McGregor out of there and Kobe King and all these bums out of decent positions now, where they would play. Now, you need on the defensive line, these guys switch in and out of the game, so you need a lot of them. And so there's still room for Reese if we want him and such like that. But we need defensive tackles. Peyton Page can't be here. We need safeties. So here we still need a starting safety here. There's plenty of them in the draft. Of course, we could end up with EMW or Dylan Thieneman or AJ Halsey, somebody like that. Or we could add one that's in free agency. There's a bunch available in free agency if we want to do that as well. And, of course, we need some depth for cornerback and so forth. These people in blue are the futures contracts. Now, you may not know that we have a kicker. Now, Nick Folk, in case you missed the news, Nick Folk signed, but not with us. He signed with the Falcons on a 2-year deal to go inside in the dome and out of the elements, and you can't blame him. But we do have a man signed as a futures contract named Lenny Krieg. He's German. He's from Deutschland. We call him Leggy Lenny. And right now, he's our kicker. But we'll probably upgrade that position, I would think. So that's one of our late round picks could be that, right? Just take the best kicker in the country, get him in the 6th round, whatever, just get him. I don't think we want to rely on Leggy Lenny kicking field goals. He's very inexperienced. He is an international pathways player. He was on the practice squad for the Falcons for a while, and then we picked him up as a futures contract player. So this is where we're at. Now, I don't know exactly how this is going to play. I have us in a 3-3-5 here, so it's not exactly going to be like this. I got to figure out how to display what we're going to do. But the nice thing about getting a guy like Kingsley and Ogbere and Joseph Asai is these players really do allow you to be multiple. And I do think we are going to be multiple, where we're a 3-4 sometimes, but occasionally, we're going to be a 4-3, and that'll be something I'll keep track of during the year. It'll be actually exciting this year as opposed to most of the years I've been doing it when it's very boring, because we were a 4-3 team that played 85% nickel, and in that case, you're a 4-2-5. And we were just in nickel all the time. This is very boring to kind of keep track of. But I do think with this personnel, there's going to be different configurations based on situations. So that's where we stand. And as you can see, it's a lot better than it was last year already, and we're not even done, and we didn't even get to the draft yet. Now, the other thing is I have 59 players on the roster. Our comp picks were finalized today by the NFL. Before, it was an estimation, but the NFL came out with all the comp picks in case you missed that, and we now have 10 picks. We thought we were going to have 12. We traded one to the Dolphins today, making that 11, but it turns out we actually have one fewer, I think 7th round pick. So now we have 10 draft picks officially. But the good news is one of our comp picks is 35 picks better than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be pick 175. It's actually pick 130 or 140. So that's a big improvement. I'd much rather lose a 7th round pick and move up 35 picks in a draft if something's going to happen, and that's what happened. So we got 10 draft picks. There's 59 guys in the roster according to my calculations here, meaning we got 69. So the remaining free agents and then the rest for the 90-man roster will get filled by UDFAs. So probably a lot of UDFAs this year, I would guess. So that's where we are with that. Huh. Yes. So that's where we are. Karate says, with good draft picks in 26 and 7, we can turn this around in less than 15 years. Well, I think we can do it a lot quicker than people think. Lenny Krieg fan club, yeah. Well, it's a guy that nobody knows about, so I love finding those guys. If I ever start writing about the Jets again, which I might do I do have a Substack, but I never write on it. But if I do, I think I'm going to write about people like Pascal Akedji and Lenny Krieg. These fringe guys, those are the ones that usually catch my attention. Everybody's talking about everybody else. What about Lenny Krieg, the Blitzkrieg from Deutschland? As of 11 seconds ago, Aaron Wilson is reporting that the Steelers are signing Panthers free agent running back Rico Dowdle, per a league source. So Rico Dowdle goes to the Steelers. So running back carousel spins round and around. Brian Cook went to the Bengalis. According to Jordan Schultz 5 minutes ago, the Giants are expected to sign former Ravens cornerback Ardarius Washington to a one-year deal. So another Baltimorean follows John Harborian to New Yorkian. Breaking news as of 7 minutes ago. Per Jordan Schultz, the New York Jets are signing former Giant safety Dane Belton to a one-year deal with worth $4 million with upside to $6 million. Belton has 240 career tackles, 4 sacks, and 6 career INTs. So Dane Belton goes from the Giants to the Jets. So that's a backup safety, if I've ever seen one. Where's the Jet beat writers? Oh. So Zach Rosenblatt says Dane Belton brings something to the Jets, have been severely lacking at safety for a long time. He's a sure tackler. Had the lowest missed tackle percentage among all safeties to play at least 400 snaps. Ah, that's good. Maybe he'll be our big nickel guy. That could be. That could be. Dane Belton, big nickel. Big nickel. Perhaps. Overall grade, 62.3, so that's slightly below average. Coverage grade, 59.8. Pass rush grade, run defense grade, 70.7. So we're prioritizing run defense. This is all these guys can tackle. Wow, last year he had a 90.6 tackle grade, and he had a missed tackle, as Rosenblather said, of 4.1%, although it's 9% for his career, although that's thrown out of whack by 1 year when he was really bad. But last year was the year that he played his most snaps, 705 in his career, and he had a 4.1 missed tackle percentage, which is very, very low. So, yeah, I think we found our big nickel. So now, all right, Dane Belton it is. So that pushes Malachi Moore out of the starting lineup for now. Let's see here. So I'll just put Dane Belton in here for now. Belton. But more improvement, and every single one of our signings is defense. So there's that. Dane Belton. All right, I think eventually he's going to be our big nickel. That's my initial reaction to it, which is great. And if we add, so basically, because right now we have 3 safeties worth a damn. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Dane Belton, and Malachi Moore. Our other safeties are people named Keydron Smith and Christopher Smith and Dean Clark and Jarius Monroe. Those aren't real players. So essentially we need one more. So if we drafted a Dylan Thieneman or an EMW or a A.J. Halsey, they would start. Belton would go to the bench with Malachi, and then those people could be used, strategically, big nickel, etc. Nice. So that's a nice little signing, and it cost us nothing. So, not a huge deal, but that's a value sign right there. Another one. So that's smart. Connor Hughes says this is a nice signing for the Jets. Some positivity. Versatile safety who's a really good third option. Yeah, that's what I said. Good. This is exactly the kind of offseason they should have had last year. But they're doing lots and lots of smart things, which is also very encouraging. Now let's see what they do with the quarterback. But so far, everything that they've done is smart, 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 smart. It's hard to find anything wrong with a third safety for $4 million that knows how to tackle, etc. So basically, Jordan Schultz is saying, Dane Belton signed with the Jets, so the Giants went and signed Ardarius Washington, a guy that Harbaugh knew from Baltimore. So there you go. That's why they got rid of him or let him walk. Harbaugh brings in his own peoples. And the interesting thing to me is that really AG doesn't appear to like any of these former Lions. We all thought, and last year and this year, he's going to bring in all of his buddies from the Lions. Nope, nope. The only problem with that last year was the guys you brought in were total bums. So now we're doing way better, way better. So there you have that. More safety help. Yeah, no Tony Adams? No. Adams is out of here. Get out of here, Adams. World Sack Center. Free translation is king. Yeah, there you go. Well, Bradigan, you may be surprised to understand and know that we now also have two players named Kingsley, in addition to Krieg. We have Kingsley and Agbare, but we also have Kingsley Jonathan. I mean, how many Kings do we need on this team? We're very regal around here. Dane Belton's PFF stats. Belton only 25. Yeah, we like the 25-year-olds. Too bad we didn't keep Sauce. Belton could teach. Harry W. is here. Belton also on specials? I would think so, Dodes. If you're going to be a third safety, you got to be on specials. So, yeah, helps us. I mean, how much? Well, yeah, all the backups are going to be on special teams. I mean, that's how it works. But the JoJo's here. Yeah. No more Tony Adams. I would say Tony Adams is probably out, but he's not exactly, doesn't seem like a hot commodity at the moment. Connor Hughes disputes a report about Ardarius Washington. He says, no deal at the moment. They're talking, but nothing's done. So maybe that might be a little bit too soon for Jordan Schultz, the heir to the Starbucks fortune. In case you didn't know, Jordan Schultz is the son of Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks. So all the Starbucks money going right to Jordan Schultz. He's a silver spoon in the mouth baby, nepo baby, whatever you want to call him, rich as fuck. Let's see. Well, it's very interesting that we've had all these deals and all very smart moves by the Jets, thank goodness, but nothing on the offensive side. Frank Reich's got to be like, what's going on, Muji? Can I get some players? Giving everything to AG. Muji having himself a beef up the D-Day. Maybe tomorrow's offense day. Yeah. It's not looking good, High Karate. Well, it's not looking anything. We don't have any news. Not looking good, not looking bad. The only thing that has happened with him, Breece Hall put out a tweet saying, I forget what he said. He said something to ABT. But like with all things Breece Hall, it was mysterious. So I thought it was a sign that maybe he was coming back, but no such news. So what's really nice, yeah, we've added 3 safeties. I mean, well, we added 2 safeties to Malachi Moore. So that is a good start for a position that was oh so bad. So bad. So bad, man. And Malachi Moore really should be a backup. He's fine as a backup and special teamer. So making progress here. AG knows the Lions are injury prone. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe the Lions players don't like AG. That's not the reporting we got, B Trav. Plus, he did sign some of his Saints players, so the Saints players love him, but the Giant Lions players don't. I don't know. Maybe we're trying to get like I would like to get a Malcolm Rodriguez here for a tiny little deal, $2 million. Ife Melifonwu could be another. I mean, I doubt we're going to sign another safety, but that was one I was thinking about. But this is the sort of roster fortification that you need to do. And then you go into the draft and you're not desperate for anything. Well, for the most part. So this is exactly the way you should be approaching free agency, in my opinion. You don't go nuts for anybody, but you just populate the roster with average to above average talent or better if you can get it. And you just stack the roster that way because you need depth everywhere. No more Isaiah Oliver? Nope. I don't think so. Unless he wants to come in and be on the practice squad. We also have Adonai, which means God in Hebrew. How can we go wrong with a bunch of kings and God? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Yeah, Joe, that's what I was thinking. Maybe we're thinking Elton Jenkins, but I'm sure Elton Jenkins is going to have a market as well. I think it's probably about settling on a value for AVT. But I don't know why we couldn't give AVT 13 mil guaranteed as a base and then give him fucking 5 million in incentives. I don't care. I love incentives. Cuz if you give him 5 mil in incentives, and they would be playing time incentives, at this point they would be not likely to be earned, probably, or at least some of them, and you'd probably stair step it where if you play this many games, you get this much, you play this many, you get this much, play the whole season, you get this much. Like, it couldn't be that the whole season would be likely to be earned. It would probably be not likely to be earned because he hasn't had a full season in so long. So the beauty of that is if they're not likely to be earned, they don't hurt you on this year's cap. They hurt you on next year's cap. But next year, we got tons of cap. 91 million in dead cap rolling right off into the ocean. So give him all of these incentives that are not likely to be earned. Doesn't hurt us this year on the cap. If he earns them, great. We give it to him. We write him a fucking check. We're happy to pay you to play the whole season, ABT. And it hurts us next year when we got so much cap, we don't know what to do with it. I bet you that's what's going on. And he's trying to decide between, several offers. Maybe one has more guaranteed money, but this one has all these incentives I can make. Maybe that's what's going on. Because if I were Muji, that's how I would do it. Give him 13 right off the bat. Give him 4 or 5 more for playing time incentives. If he earns them, great. If he doesn't earn them, oh well, then it doesn't kill us. That's what could be happening. I bet you he's got a bunch of offers like that, and he's trying to figure out which one he likes best. So that's what could be going on. Maybe we're still in it. I don't know, holding out hope. Connor Hughes, as of 1 minute ago, here's what the Jet fans will love about Dane Belton. The ball just finds him. Oh. These golf people. 6 interceptions in 66 career games, mostly a third safety during that time. Played more than 460 snaps just once in his career, last season with 705. So that sounds a lot like Ashton Davis, actually. If you remember, Ashton had very few snaps, but he would somehow get these interceptions. So the ball just finds him. It's magic, everybody. The golf goober tells us. So it has nothing to do with the preparation he does or the athleticism he has or the study he does of the opponent. The ball just magically finds him. Oh, thanks, golf goober Connor Hughes. Oh, okay. Beautiful. Well, maybe it is magic, and if so, that'd be nice. Eddie Hunt says AVT doesn't want to be here. How do you know what AVT wants, Eddie? Everybody said we couldn't sign any free agents because no one wanted to be here. We're signing all these free agents. They want to be here. Did you talk to AVT, Eddie? Do you have any idea what his wife said? Do you know anything about him? I hate the Jets. I'm a Jet fan, but I hate the Jets because they lose too much. Okay, Eddie. Go eat your soup. I guess his side of the field is targeted. Yeah, that's one way to look at it also, right? Maybe they're trying to throw at him for a reason. But any kind of football thing, explanation would be good. But Connor Hughes goes, the ball just finds him. It's just luck, magic. I don't know. I'm a golf goober. I like golfing. I don't know anything about football. My name's Connor Hughes. I make $1 million telling you about football, but I don't know anything about it. Isn't that funny? Oh, yes. Pass the caviar, will you? Okay. Is it time to golf yet? Hey, Jojo. Muji must have probably... Maybe. I mean, it's a little risky. But, if we fill every single damn hole in free agency, then, could be Reese, Simpson. Let's look at, if we went offense, we might have to do a mock draft. But if we go to 2026 consensus big board and we look at the wide receivers around pick 33, say, who's there? Well, I'm not finding any. Chris Brazzell. Oh, imagine we got Chris Brazzell. Brazzell is way better than his consensus number, 48. Big, tall, smooth receiver out of Tennessee. Chris Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. What if we got him? Or Chris Ding Dong Bell out of Louisville. Or Zachariah Branch out of Georgia. So there's tons of these dudes. Jeremy Bernard, I like him out of Alabama. And if we had Simpson, you'd probably want to go get Jeremy, his running mate. We could get Malachi Lawrence out of UCF. That'd be nice. Elijah Surratt may be there. A bunch of these dudes. There's good value in the second round. That's another thing. So if we can really solidify the roster pretty well, and just this move with Dane, even if Dane Belton has to start, it's better than Malachi Moore. I would like another safety in there. Honestly, probably one of the draft picks, but I don't know. We attack defense pretty heavy, man. And we haven't done anything on offense, so it's a little weird. Here's a funny one. Adam Schefter, as of 2 minutes ago, former Lions quarterback Kyle Allen is signing a 2-year, $4 million deal worth up to $6 million with the Buffalo Bills, where he will reunite with his close friend Josh Allen. So it's either Josh or Kyle Allen, all the Allens at quarterback. So now even all of these backups are settling into their backup roles. It's very strange. So I don't think Derek Carr's coming back. I don't know where he thinks he could go. Oh, here's more news. Jordan Schultz, sources, the Jets are re-signing fullback Andrew Beck. Yes, to a 1-year guaranteed deal for $1.5 million. Smart as hell. This is a valuable dude who only plays, he plays special teams plus 6 snaps a game. But for 1.5, that's brilliant. All right, we made our first offensive move. According to Schultz, let's make sure it's right. Sometimes he jumps the gun. No, Aaron Wilson saying the same thing. Let's see the beat reporters. There should be, the Jet beat reporters are slow as fuck. Well, if I get it from Jordan Schultz and Aaron Wilson, we're bringing back Andrew Beck, baby. Andrew Beck, baby. We got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. One of my favorite players, Andrew Beck. Does all the little things. Attaboy, Becky. All right, there's something. So let's put Andrew Beck here. We'll put him in the tight end. We don't have a category for fullback. He's a fullback, tight end. He does it all. Running back. Special teams ace. Love it. Phenomenal. So we got the Baxter back. All right. So we are going to sign some offensive players, apparently. So that makes us up to 61 now. Players on the roster. Good. We got our block and fullback back. Excellent. So these things are coming in, man. Bills are signing Kyle Allen. They're going to sign all the Allens. You never trust a man with 2 first names. Now, the Jet Beat reporters are not saying anything about Andrew Beck. What are they doing? Don't they know we need the fullback news? What's going on? Let's look at see if the Badlands people have anything about it. Joe Caparoso says, somewhere Gerald Soule, BJ Askew, and Richie Anderson gently nod in approval at Andrew Beck being signed back as a fullback. Will Parkinson approves of the Dane Belton signing, says quality third safety in depth. Nice pickup. Joe Caparoso shows a gif of people very relieved and says, realizing we are done with Ike Oliver and Bubble Wrap Adams at safety. Yep. Later. Later. All right, so everyone feels pretty much the same, it seems, about these moves. The Jet Beat reporters are not reporting anything about Andrew Beck. Falcons are signing Texans linebacker Christian Harris. So more defense for the frickin' Texans. Oh, no, going to the Falcons, so that's Ulbrich. That makes sense. Ulbrich picking off of D'Amico Ryan's players. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, a lot of comments. Yeah, Omar Cooper could be there at 33. He might sneak into the first round, but he could make it to 33. But there's a lot of them. Man. Yeah, we got him. Yeah. Should we trade Braylon Allen? Only if they give us a king's ransom, because we are the kings. We're the gods and the kings. We deserve a king's ransom. We're giving them a third Allen. I mean, come on. It's the March of the Allens up there. By the way, we're probably, in case you don't know this, we're probably opening the Bills' new stadium. Opening the Bills' new stadium. You know, the Bills have a new stadium that's opening. Guess who they're going to put in there on opening night? Probably us. Because why? Because we opened the old stadium and we closed the old stadium. So I think they're going to want to make a thing of that, you know. And also, in theory, in their theory, give Josh Allen a cakewalk and we'll put him on his back, baby. Joe the Jet G, any chance we trade for BTJ? Yeah, there's a chance. 11% drop rate. You want it? Guy drops 11% of the passes that we throw him. You want it? You want it, Joe? Thanks for the donation. But the reporting is that we are somewhat interested in BTJ, but that there's nothing immediately on the horizon, according to Rosenblatt. But he did drop 11% of the passes that were thrown to him, Joe. You still want him? That's more than double the average for a wide receiver. Because they know it's win. Yeah, but they got to say something, Thompson. I mean, they've been saying nice things about Belton and all these other people. They're not saying anything about. I mean, they could say Jets have, or they could just retweet one of these other people. Why are they being so silent? That's really strange. But if Aaron Wilson says it, it's pretty clear that it happened, I think. I mean, basically, I have two national reporters saying it happened, but not confirmed with. Maybe their Jet sources aren't getting back to them because we're working on a blockbuster deal. I'm actually super happy about that because it's such a great deal. $1.5 million. I mean, it's so cheap. And he's a great guy. He's good in the locker room. He plays all the special teams very well. Does anything you ask him to do. You need him to play tight end? Yep. Need him to play fullback? Yep. You need him to play running back? Sure. You know what I mean? If you need him to play offensive line, he'd probably do that. Whatever you ask him to do. If you ask him to play safety, he'd probably do that. He's just a great guy to have as a backup. You know, like just a great guy on the roster. He can do so many things. Now, he's not going to do anything great, you know, but for $1.5 million, that's just a really smart signing. I love those things. Great job, Muji. Let's hope it's true. Schultz reported it, and then Aaron Wilson reported it. Those are two nationals reporting it. But the Jet beat reporters, no. And then Connor Hughes is breaking the news that somebody else already broke 5 minutes ago. He says, breaking. It's not breaking. We already knew this. The Giants are signing Ardarius Washington. We already knew that. 1-year deal, $3 million. So we gave Dane Belton like an extra $1 million. He came over from the Giants. All right. I'll take it. Punter news, Diana Rossini. The Bills are re-signing Mitch Wishnowsky. 1-year deal. Mitch Wish coming back to Buffalo. Chargers signed Trevor Penning. Phil says the Jets will put a curse on that new stadium that'll last 100 years. Yeah, but is it a curse on us or on them? How are we going to put a curse on the Bills? By beating them? Bradigan, well, also when the Bills unveiled their new stadium plans, who was on the scoreboard? Yep, us. Uh-huh. See, so, so almost certainly we're going to open the season at Buffalo, so just get ready for that. And it's probably going to be a Monday night game, a brand new stadium. The NFL is going to want to, show it off. And it's supposed to be a beautiful, amazing stadium. So probably Monday Night Football, first week of the season, or at least maybe Sunday night, probably a primetime game. Josh Allen, against the rival Jets, the downtrodden Jetsies. Man. Well, they're not always. Big Green loves conspiracies. Welcome to the inner square, buddy. All right. Welcome back. Yeah, Big Green got a new account. Good to be here. All right, Big Green. Big Green loves conspiracies. It's an interesting account. That's a lot of letters that you got there. Always good to see Big Green, one of the OGs in the chat there. Let's take a look at our roster. I really would like confirmation from the fucking beat reporters that we signed Andrew Beck. Can we get something from you golfing goofers about our fullback? Wait, maybe we can get confirmation from Will Parkinson at least. Well, Caparoso saying something about it, but Parkinson, who sometimes actually breaks news, weirdly, not saying anything. So I don't know. I'm going to consider it confirmed. Schultz, Aaron Wilson, the Nationals and the Casuals. Source is saying that the Giants are monitoring the situation with regard to BTJ. That's the Giants. So maybe the Giants get BTJ, Mr. 11% drops. Do. Still no confirmation from the stupid beat reporters, these golfing idiots. But let's take a look at our new roster. Here we go. The Stanford Smarty Pantses. I mean, the only addition we made, we now have Andrew Beck. Beck is back. Should I color him in purple? Nah. It's not a new player. He's an old player. But as you can see from the yellow, we still have 3 starting spots that we need, and we need some backups as well. But where it's really improved is back here. I mean, the defense is looking pretty good. The Dukes of Hazzard, as I call them. A lot more talent than we had last year. Now, we got to improve. Peyton Page is a practice squad player, so he cannot make the 53-man, so we got to get him out of here. But we still have a whole draft, and we're not even done with free agency, so... And we got to obviously get Keydron Smith out of here. So we need a safety, and we want Dane Belton to be back here on the second string. We also need some corners. But, I mean, we have 10 picks in the draft, so we can also address a lot of this in the draft. And so, of course, the main big problem with this roster, of course, is the quarterback position. We don't know how that's going to turn out. We need some depth at corner. We need one more safety at least. We need defensive tackle. One more. We need one more edge player. And then, we need at least one more wide receiver. We need our left guard. Hopefully this is AVT. Maybe we're making a push for him. That would be wonderful to hear that news. And then quarterback, and then we need some, backup linemen and such. So the roster's looking a lot better than last year. A lot better than last year. And like I said, one of the things that helps us is moving to this 3-4 means that you really have to find people who are 2-gappers as far as defensive tackles goes, which are in less demand. So we should be able to find them on the market or in the draft a lot easier than if we were going after 4-3-1 gappers. And those are in those are in a lot of demand. So you're competing with all the teams to get the same type of players. Another advantage to moving to a 3-4. But this is a lot more talent than we had last year, and we're not even done yet. So that's the good news. And we really want Dane Belton to move into the second string. We want Keydron Smith out of here. Practice squad level player. Same thing with Christopher Smith and Dean Clark and Jarius Monroe and Sam Womack and Trey Brown. These are all practice squad level players. They shouldn't be anywhere near the second string. And hopefully we can get one of the big three after Caleb Downs, which is Dylan Thieneman, EMW, or AJ Halsey. Any one of those three would be nice to insert here. Then you have Belton and Moore as the backups, and now you have a good safety situation. Get a couple more, get another edge, a defensive tackle, and we're good there. And then we got to address some of these offensive positions. But we're in a lot better position than we were last year, and then we have been since Mooj and those folks got here. Beat reporters still not confirming Andrew Beck, so that's a little strange. Horvath is here. Adam Alexander. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go. Yeah, Schultz, he cited them. Well, let's see what he said. Per his agents. Yeah. Ray Haija and A.D. von Gontard. I don't know who those people are, but they're not main agents. But if the agents are telling Schultz that, then it's for sure. They wouldn't say that otherwise. And they would be anxious to get that into the news. Hey, our client got signed. Hey, we're agents. Have anybody ever heard of us? No. Oh. Let's get our names into the news. Big Green loves conspiracies. So is it Gino or Wentz? It's probably both, Big Green. Why have one bum when you can have two bums? Jojo, definitely feeling better about the defense, and you add an athletic freak like Reese? Yeah, exactly the point. Yeah. It's a lot of talent. We're going to stop the fucking run. I mean, with all these run stuffers, we're going to stop the run. I mean, you could tell Aaron Glenn's not fucking around this year. One of the big things he did wrong last year, and apparently he learned his lesson. Number one, hiring Steve Wilkes, but then number two, thinking that Wilkes and his staff could just coach up anybody to do anything. If you remember, those were all the stories coming out of the Athletic and so forth. The Jets are really counting on this coaching staff to coach up these players. Don't worry that they're not great players, because the coaching staff, oh my goodness, this coaching staff, whoa, they can coach, and they're going to coach them up. Now, they didn't coach up shit, because you can't coach up bad players to be good players. You need good players, and that's what we're at least getting now. And so you get these run stuffers, and then when it's third and fourth and long, you can do whatever you want. You can bring in a NASCAR package. You can blitz their asses. Unleash Vels Bells. I mean, think about it. The AC/DC song, Hell's Bells? Well, now it's going to be Vels Bells for Arvell Reese. Lights go down in MetLife Stadium. Bong. 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 And then they play Hell's Bells. But instead, it's Vels Bells. Get it? So he comes with his own theme song, which is an added plus in any player, really. And then the whole stadium's going nuts, and he flies in and sacks Josh Allen, throws his head in the dirt. Sit down, Josh Allen, and stay down, bitch. And that's how you win a ball game. Ay karate. Do we keep Sherwood? Yeah, why not? You know, Sherwood's going to be a lot better because we got Demario Davis, by the way. Because now Demario Davis, or maybe even Minka Fitzpatrick, takes the green dot and just let Sherwood play free. He was thinking too much last year. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the C.J. Mosley role. Well, you know who can? Demario Davis can. Minka Fitzpatrick can if need be. You know what I'm saying? Demario Davis is one of the smartest guys around as far as football is concerned. So he's basically the new C.J. Mosley as far as the brain capacity is concerned. That's going to let Sherwood fly around free and do what he does best, tackle people. Instead of thinking so much. He was too much thinking last year. Too much stinking thinking. And now he's going to go back to being the way he was with CJ, which was much better. So that's an added plus of getting Demario Davis. And he's going to get everybody in the right spot and tell them what to do and tell them what not to do. Go over here and get this one. Forget it. Don't do this. What about all that stuff? He's going to do it. And Sherwood's just going to go, yes, sir. And then boom. That's it. Fly around, tackle people. Bang. Why not? It's a beautiful thing. Josh Allen will get the Aaron Rodgers Achilles. Well, let's not talk about injuries. We don't need injuries, Big Green. We just want to sack them and tackle them and put them down and say, get out of here. This game is over. Sit down. Enough with your bullshit. I mean, how many games do we have to watch with fucking Josh Allen running around, you know, like a chicken with his head cut off, run around for 5-6 seconds, and he just basically waits for someone to uncover because you can't cover these people for, you know, that long. And he runs around and then eventually just throws it. Yeah. Fuck that guy. Somebody hit him. And before, we were trying to have these fat guys run around and catch him. It's like Jermaine's not going to catch him. You know, Quinnen's not going to catch him. He's too fast and wily. But now we got Will McDonald, okay, speedy, bendy, athletic, and Arvell Reese, Vels Bells. What? He's not going to get away from Vels Bells. No. Sorry. Nope. Not doing it. Nope. No way. So now we have, I think, what we need to beat these fuckers. And the same thing applies to Drake May and even now Malik Willis. We got to play the Malik Willis now. Down in Miami. Now Malik Willis is down there. He runs. He's a very good runner. So we got to do the fucking same thing with him. These fuckers. And you need players on that side who can run with these guys in the fourth quarter. You know, when everybody's exhausted, you need these goddamn super freak athlete monsters to catch these people. Basically. God's sakes, the stupid Josh Allen run around and do stuff offense. I'm so sick of it. There's only one way to end it. Sacks. Sakalaka. So the Jet beat reporters are not reporting Andrew Beck coming back. Do they not think we want the news of our fullback coming back? What is going on here? Wait, you know what? I don't have people like Antoine Staley in the list because he never breaks any news. Maybe Antoine Staley's talking about it. Staley is not talking about it. Well, Beck may be back or he may not be back. Maybe the agents told those guys that, but the beat reporters are trying to get confirmation from the team. Maybe that's the problem. Hefe, should we expect more action? I forget that I'm 3 hours behind, so it's getting late there. I mean, the funny thing is these football front offices, these guys work 20 hours a day. I mean, it's really not an easy job. So there might be more stuff. I mean, it's only 8 o'clock here. A lot of times you see things break 9, 10 o'clock. I would say after 10, it's probably safe to be done. But then you could wake up in the morning and something's done. So, I mean, these guys are working. Blewett responds to Beck positively. Blewett, but that's Blewett responding to Jordan Schultz report. I don't know. Since it came from his agents, I'm going to assume that it's correct, and that the reason the beat reporters aren't saying anything about it, they're probably waiting for the Jets to confirm it. I guess it'd be pretty stupid for his agents to tell Schultz about it before it's confirmed, but we'll see. Yeah, Karate, it's time to get hyped, man. Because what we've really done, assuming we take Reese with the second pick, which we should, like, we've really addressed what we should have done last year, we're doing this year. And the players we're getting make a lot of sense because a guy like David Onyemata is not going to get a ton of money on the open market. We gave him like 10 plus million or so. So he doesn't cost you a lot, but he does such great things. We got Tavondre Sweat for less than $2 million, and he stuffs the run. It's like the most important thing in the whole world. Because if you can't stop the run, you can't do anything in defense. They'll just keep running it down your throat. And so these guys, Demario Davis was elite against the run last year. Yeah, he's 37, but goddamn, he was elite against the run. We all know Harrison Phillips and Juwan Briggs, very good. Okay, we got to get a little better on the back end with Peyton Page. He needs to go to the practice squad, so we need some improvement there. And maybe Mozzie Smith can play zero tech, or maybe Mozzie could be better in a 3-4. I don't know. But if not, then we need to improve on him. But even a guy like Kingsley Enagbare is better against the run than he is a pass rusher. So he's sort of like the opposite of Will McDonald. And then Joseph Asai is kind of okay against both. So I don't know, just really good. And then they said, and then Dane Belton is a great tackler. Minkah Fitzpatrick will also be much smarter and better than what we had. So it's looking up. JoJo, surprised Miami signed Willis. I thought they were planning a tank season. Yeah, me too. I don't think it's a great situation for Malik Willis either. I mean, they're not going to have a really strong team, and it's essentially a 2-year deal, essentially, pretty much with the guaranteed money and so forth. So, is he really going to be able to show them what he would like to show them, that he's a franchise quarterback without a really strong offensive line and without 3 really strong wide receivers and so forth and so on? I mean, they signed Greg Dulcich to be a tight end. I mean, come on. So I think he probably would have been better off going with LaFleur out in the desert, but I don't know. I guess he wanted to go to Miami. There's also the fact that a lot of people do like to go to Florida. You know, just the way it is. It's one of the best states in the nation, as opposed to going elsewhere. Although you really do have to worry about one thing if you're Miami. So the coach of Green Bay is obviously Matt LaFleur. The coach of Arizona, who needs a quarterback, is Mike LaFleur. And the Cardinals showed somewhat tepid interest in him. So what was Matty telling Mikey about the QB? Hey, you want to give him a small deal, okay, but don't give too much money. Maybe he was warning him. Hey, Mikey. Hey, brother. See? because why weren't the Cardinals all over it? The Cardinals are apparently going with Brissett and Minshew, and the Arizona media is saying Brissett's the starter, Minshew's the backup, and that's what they're going with. They're not. That's it. They're not going for any other QBs. So if you're Miami, looking at that, going, wonder what Matty, one of the best play callers in the league, no doubt about it, told Mikey, his brother, because wouldn't he want his brother to be successful? You would think. And sure, Sully and Halfley, sure, they were in Green Bay too, and they saw Malik slinging it around in practice, but they're not the play caller. They're not the offensive genius, and they're not the brother. This is a blood brother. Don't you think Matty wants Mikey to be successful as a head coach? And so if Malik Willis was worthy of getting all this money, don't you think Matty would be like, oh, Mikey, yeah, give him the bag. This guy will never let you down. He's perfect. Take him, get him, and you'll be a successful head coach and, LaFleur's forever, But that didn't happen. So what did Matty tell Mikey? That's what you got to wonder. Perhaps if you're a Miami Dolphinian or a fan thereof. Leger Duzable says that the Jets should be players for Elton Jenkins, along with the Commandos. Still nothing about Beck from the beat. That's weird. The GM June says QB coming real soon. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's not a lot of places for these people to go. I really don't know what the holdup is. If you want to play and start, where else are you going to go? There's really nowhere else. Steelers maybe, but they're probably getting Rodgers back. But that's it. That's the only starting job open anymore. I don't know of any others. Jet fans deserve vengeance. Well, we just deserve winning. We don't deserve winning because, it could be that maybe the losing is the fans' fault. You ever think of that? Jay Mullen says I'm right. Maybe it's our fault that they lose too much. You ever think of that? How about spinning it on its head? If you have an intractable problem, maybe you should do the opposite, just like George Costanza said. If everything you've ever done your whole life is wrong, then the opposite, by definition, must be right. What about that? Eric Craig here, he says, what did I miss? You missed it all, Craig. Craiger was changing the battery in the wife's car. Well, maybe the wife should change her own fucking battery. She can't learn? We got YouTube videos for that. You missed everything, Craig. Craiger. Craigie. Craigster. But the most important thing is we've re-signed our fullback, Andrew Beck. Everyone knows you can't have a good team without a good fullback. Everyone knows that because look what just happened to Alec Ingold. He gets released from the Dolphins. He goes right back to employment with Mike McDonald out there with the Chargerios. Right? Right. He knew him. He knew what it was all about. He gets unemployed for 5 minutes and boom, right back to L.A. with old Mikey McDonald. Anybody think Mike McDonald is a dummy as far as offense is concerned? No. He knows what it's about, and you need a fullback. So he went and he got Alec Ingold, one of the best. We got ours back. Not one of the best, but he's one of them. So, at least we think. The Jet beat reporters have yet to confirm this signing, however. But according to his own agents, as speaking to Jordan Schultz, it seems as though we have retained the fullback Andrew Abeck. Wait, I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, look, Emily Holt put out a tweet saying, "Thrilled to share, I've joined the Chicago Bears as a graphic designer. So excited for what's ahead." How about a little congratulations for Emily Holt from Dayton, Ohio? Hey, good job, Emily. She got a job, everybody. She's going to be a graphic designer. She's going to design graphics. All right. Way to go, Em. She all smiley about it. I mean, these are important milestones in a person's life, you know? Oh, boy. Well, Zach Rosenblatt is going live on Flight Plan at 8:30 to break down the day's events. Kind of makes me want to go till 9:30, but it's getting a little late. We're over 2.5. We're going up to closing. We're closing in on 2.5 hours of this live stream. We got apparently 75 concurrent viewers right now, according to my doc thing here. If this is correct, looks like 75. Or now it's 71, so people are leaving. Maybe they're going into other people's live streams now. But if you're here, give it a thumbs up before you leave, before you go to other people's live streams. It's getting late in the evening. Perhaps other people are going live now. But please give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. And think about joining the inner circle. You get exclusive crap. Oof, from me. And you want exclusive crap from me, because when you get exclusive crap from me, it's not crap at all. It's actually very, very good and interesting info. You get quarterback evaluation systems. You know who's good, who's bad, who's actually better than this guy or that guy. You get it all if you join the Inner Circle. It's only $2 a month. And it's very easy to join. You just click the join button down below, give $2, and you're all set. So, still not seeing any confirmation of Andrew Beck returning. The Rams are signing long snapper Joe Cardona. 2-year deal, $3.45 million. So they needed a long snapper, I guess. She's going to design the teams. Yeah, it'll be the Indiana Bears. Hit the like button, please do. Harry's got a good sense of humor. Harry's one of the members. I mean, look, you should join the Inner Circle just to hang out with Harry W. Anybody better in this world than Harry W? I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the Jets just refuse to announce offensive. Maybe they have all these offensive moves made. They're just not announcing them. It's defensive Monday, offensive Tuesday. That'd be nice. Boy, it sure would be nice to hear tomorrow that we've retained AVT, wouldn't it? All right, so I guess we'll call it an evening. Thanks for joining. Green Bean. Oh, Green Bean starting? Okay. Well, everyone, go over to Green Bean's channel. Say hello to Green Bean for me. And we'll come back tomorrow, actually. This has been so action-packed. We'll do another one tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be no action tomorrow. It'll be a quick one. But so join us tomorrow at 6. Tuesday, Newsday. We'll maybe have some more stuff. But as always, thank you for joining, and I will see you tomorrow.